I didn't believe houses could remember people. Not until I moved into one that remembered me. The place was cheap, way too cheap for the neighborhood, but I really needed a fresh start. The landlord told me the previous tenant had left in a huge hurry and never came back for her things. Honestly, that should have been my first warning sign. The first night was quiet, except for the clock in the hallway. It was this old brass thing that didn't match anything else in the house. It ticked in a slow, uneven rhythm, almost like it was thinking between seconds. Then, at exactly 1:17 a.m., it just stopped. A moment later, I woke up to the sound of footsteps upstairs. The problem was I lived alone. I tried to rationalize it. Old house, settling wood, old pipes, my own old nerves. But still, I couldn't go back to sleep. The next morning, I found something really strange on the kitchen table. A single key. It was rusted and warm to the touch, like someone had just been holding it. I didn't recognize it at all, but I tossed it in a drawer and headed off to work. That's when the small things started happening. Cabinets I knew I hadn't opened were left slightly ajar. The radio would turn itself on, always tuned to a station that only played songs from the 1980s. And sometimes, when I'd walk past the hallway mirror, I thought I saw someone standing behind me. Just for a split second, a woman wearing a pale blue dress. I started calling her the tenant. Joking about it somehow made it easier to live there. One evening, I came home to find the clock ticking again. Perfectly this time. And underneath it was a photograph I had never seen before. It was an old picture of the house with a woman standing on the porch. She looked exactly like the shape I kept seeing in the mirror. On the back, written in careful, elegant handwriting, were 3 words: "Don't forget me." After that, I started having these vivid dreams about rooms that didn't exist in the house. A narrow staircase hidden behind the pantry. A secret door under the living room carpet. In every dream, the woman in blue was there, waiting at the end of each hallway, smiling like she knew a secret I had forgotten long ago. Then, the house learned my name. I was washing dishes one afternoon when I heard it, a soft whisper, almost buried under the sound of the running water. "Daniel." No one had called me that since my grandmother passed away. I immediately turned off the faucet. The house fell completely silent. Too silent. That night I used the rusted key. It fit a lock I swear hadn't been there before, a small, hidden door inside the coat closet. The air that drifted out smelled like rain and old perfume. Behind it was a room, no bigger than a bedroom, filled with someone else's things. Shoes neatly placed by the bed, a half-written letter on a desk, a calendar stuck on March 1994, and in the room was another mirror. When I looked into that mirror, I didn't see my own reflection. I saw her, the woman in blue, standing in the hallway right behind me, so close I felt like I could hear her breathe. She whispered, "You came back." Before I could even react, the door slammed shut. I slept in my car that night. When the sun came up, I checked the closet again. It was normal, no door, no room, just my coats and dust. I tried to move out the next week. I packed up all my boxes, called the movers, even found a new apartment. But every place I looked at felt wrong, like the walls were watching me, daring me to leave. When I finally handed the keys back, the landlord told me something that chilled me to the bone. "You know, you're the 3rd Daniel to live there," he said. "Funny coincidence, right?" I asked him about the woman in the photograph. His face went pale. "That was my sister," he whispered. "She disappeared in that house 30 years ago. I still drive past the house sometimes. The old brass clock is still visible through the front window, ticking away in that same uneven rhythm. And once, just once, I'm sure I saw the curtain move and a pale hand resting against the glass. I don't think the house was haunted. I think it was waiting, and I think it's still learning new names. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to follow for more.